Thanks everybody for coming in. Here to talk about the Great Burnt copper deposit. Great Burnt, as Vic mentioned, has a long history of exploration. From way back in the 50s and 60s, all the way into now. And Benton is probably the most aggressive company that's picked the project up. We've drilled already 9,000 meters since last November, when we initially optioned the ground from Spruce Ridge Resources. And with that drill program, we've proven that deposit is expandable and is wide open down plunge, just like Rambler. I did a bunch of research on Rambler, and I think it was in production off and on, 71 to the 80s, and then back when Rambler Mines picked it up and found the footwall zones. And I believe we're in no different territory here with Great Burnt. And we also have about 25 kilometers of stratigraphy that we're advancing. So I'll get on with talking about the project. We'll be talking about forward-looking statements. So this is a disclaimer. Just a little bit about the company. We've no stranger to discoveries. I'll be talking in two presentations about lithium discovery that's inside of Benton and being rolled out into a publicly traded company with our partner Sokoman Minerals, partnered by Piedmont. And of course, I'll be talking about the flagship property, the Great Burnt. We also have currently 4.2 million cash, and being a bit of a project generator, we hold about $2.3 million in equities in various junior and senior companies, including Piedmont Lithium stock. So Great Burnt, situated in central Newfoundland, about 80 kilometers north of the port town of St. Albans, down on the coast, and road accessible. The road is maintained by the government. In fact, there's a hydro dam that's about 2.8 kilometers just south of the deposit. So we access that. Our mining camp is actually right on the dam. Had an historical resource that was updated with a new 43-101 by Spruce Ridge Resources in 2022. Basically, they had about 1.2 million tons at roughly around 3% copper equivalent. It do have considerable cobalt numbers in it, along with silver and some gold. And then, of course, there's 5 zones over about 15 kilometers. The next drill, most of our drilling, go back here. Most of our drilling right now has been conducted on the Great Burnt deposit. So there's 15 kilometers here of known mineralization, with the South Pond having a drilled resource in the 60s and 70s of about 300,000 tons. What's interesting is now that we're drilling with NQ core versus AQX core and BQ core, our grades have substantially increased, and that's due to better recoveries, we believe. And I'll show some examples of that in some sections as we move along. But certainly better grades at Great Burnt than ever was thought. So I'll start with the South Pond area. This is 15 kilometers to the north of the Great Burnt deposit. Again, the north deposit was drilled in the 70s, or at least that's when the historical resource was put together. In the 80s, Noranda and a few other companies that were working in the area, when gold was on the move, they went in and resampled a bunch of this core and discovered that there was gold there. Prior to that, previous operators didn't assay for gold. So with that, various exploration programs over the years had gone in there looking for gold. The latest being Spruce Ridge Resources in 2021. They drilled 8 or 10 holes with grades such as 1.75 grams over 21 meters, 1.69 grams, that's supposed to be 51 meters, not 15. So that's over a kilometer south of the actual resource. And we know that there is substantial gold from historical sampling of the old core. So we're gonna re-drill this deposit with NQ core starting at the end of May. So that'll be the first time it's been drilled since 1970. We'll also be testing a bunch of these EM anomalies that's been identified by various airborne EM surveys. This is an historical soil anomaly that we've put together, up to 4 grams in gold in soil. Almost no drilling. There's an historical hole here. We don't have much data on it. So this is a pretty exciting project. When you get down here into this mag anomaly, it's an ultramafic intrusive. There is a very strong conductor on it. It's never been drill tested. So this is a prime area for even magmatic copper nickel sulfide. So we'll be testing some holes in that as well this summer. Moving down to the actual Great Burnt deposit, as you can see, all the blue holes are historical holes plus Benton's drilling and some of Spruce Ridge drilling. Interesting enough, Spruce Ridge picked this up in 2016, and they were the first guys to really re-drill the deposit, because being a circle, you know, everybody always thought that the drilling was fairly competent. And when Spruce Ridge re-drilled the deposit in 2016, they actually found that their grades and thicknesses were much better than what was previously reported. So they went back in 2018 and had the same type of result, and then again in 2020. So since that time, gold, of course, became hot with Newfoundland gold and so forth in 2021. That's why Spruce Ridge moved to the north and started drilling the gold zone. And then after 2021, Spruce Ridge had some internal problems, where I approached them and managed to work a deal out last November to acquire the ground from Spruce Ridge, and we started to get to work. This is what I want to talk about in historical holes versus what we're hitting. So in here, there was a historical drill intercept from a circle drilling, 2.71% copper over 0.8 meters, a bunch of zero recovery in the core, 7% over 0.31 meters. Well, we drilled above and just below those intercepts, and you know, you can see it speaks for themselves. 5.8% copper over 13 meters, 5% copper over 22 meters. I mean, these are truly world-class intercepts. A lot of the deposit is open down dip and up dip, although in our last drill campaign, we have tried to find the margins, and we believe there is a central high-grade core where it do pinch to the north or to the top and pinch to the bottom, with about 100 meters to 150 meters lateral extent on it. Again, another prime example of an historical drill hole. As you can see, GB85 cut 0.46. So just a 0.5% copper over 7 meters. We drilled above it and below it, and I mean 7% copper over 26 meters, 5.9%, you know, over 6.9 meters. I mean, these are world-class intercepts. So we're pretty excited that we are growing the grade and thicknesses and size of the historical resource. And outside of that, we've now expanded the deposit down plunge where previously they thought it was closed off. These are some of Benton's, well, when we picked it up from Spruce Ridge, this is the numbers that we've seen that they had from their various 3 campaigns. Spruce Ridge, you know, was a junior company that had limited funds. They always went in there with, you know, small drill programs, and this is not what this project needs. It needs aggressive exploration, you know, pound it with drill holes. We're planning another 10,000 meters starting in June here. So, you know, that's how you expand these things. And also using deep DPM geophysics and so forth, which we've already done in our last drill campaign last month. So I'll show some anomalies that we've picked out and chasing this thing down plunge. Again, world-class intercepts, 13 meters of 8, 26 of 7. I mean, this is the stuff that basically the main Rambler deposit, you know, was started on. And now, of course, you see, in fact, I have a slide showing the potential that this has, very similar to what Rambler has delivered, you know, from this historical production to now in all the new discoveries of the footwall and so forth. So I think it's pretty exciting times for us. One of the interesting things as well is we are starting to see gold pick up in the lower zone, or certainly in the deeper parts of where we hit. Hole number 12 in our first drill campaign was the deepest hole that ever hit the massive sulfide, and that was 25 meters of 5.5 copper, and some sections of that graded 3 ounces or near 3 ounces silver and 4.4 grams gold. So we are getting into a better part of the system. So the blue area is kind of the historical results modeling that had mediocre 2%. I shouldn't say 2% because 2% is a fantastic grade for any deposit. You know, Rambler is a 2.5% deposit. So I mean, this thing has huge potential. The red is kind of the areas that we've kind of upgraded the resource. And of course, the biggest part now being hitting this thing down plunge and expanding it substantially. And this is just a longitudinal, showing the stars are Benton drill holes filling in between areas that previously had lower grade, or some of these gray holes were nothing. Even in here, there was 0 grade. A lot of lower grade stuff. We've expanded this to up dip. And of course, most importantly, down plunge. So hole number 34, which was just released a couple weeks ago, 1.75 over 5 meters. We've now done pulse EM down here, and we have a 10,000 Siemens conductor down plunge that's never been touched with drilling. So that will be in the next drill campaign in the next few weeks. This is some of the modeling and the pulse EM that we completed, the purple holes. This area down here, you can see this is a huge conductor off hole in this area. This is from our geophysics, Alan King, geophysicist Alan King. He's ex-Inco geoscientist. That was their top guy for modeling all their geophysics, including stuff at Boise Bay, Reed Brook, etc. He tells us that we have a huge plate anomaly down plunge from the stuff that we just hit, and also he's identified a parallel plate conductor with several of the holes that historical holes that we pulsed. Previously, they thought it was a shallow lying zone in here, but he believes this is the base of the conductor, and the plate is actually just a parallel plate to the main zone. There's almost no holes that penetrate this plate, believe it or not. So that's got us pretty excited. And the holes that do penetrate the plate, where it's projected, do have copper and gold in them. In one case, I believe it's this hole here, there's like 29 meters of 0.6 copper with like 0.6 grams gold, and 8 meters of 1% copper and 2 grams gold. So this is a plate that we're pretty excited to get back and get in drilling on. So I stole this slide from Rambler, and I just wanted to show the scale of what we're dealing with. So this is the current footprint of Great Burnt. You can see this is drilled down to about 600 meters. We're now at about 700 meters down plunge on it with our new drilling. But the footwall zone don't start until 600 to 700 meters down on the Rambler. And of course, the main deposit that they've started mining back, I think, in 1971, as they mentioned, they've now extended it down here now, I don't know, 2 kilometers. So you can see these VMS systems have the potential to be massive and huge. So we believe our secondary plate that we're seeing is very similar to this footwall zone. We got a lot of drilling to do, obviously. There's only 2 or 3 holes that's cut our plate. So this is exciting times for us. And this is just one of the copper zones that we have on the 15 kilometers. And then we have another 10 kilometers of stratigraphy where there's literally almost no work, historically done. So we're pretty excited to get back working in this environment this summer. So looking forward to this year. We've completed phase 1 and 2 over 9,000 meters since November. We signed a deal with Spruce Ridge in late September. So we're moving pretty quick for a junior company. We're well financed, as I mentioned, $4 million. Eric Sprott is our biggest shareholder. We just brought in a fund out of Europe for 9.9% of Benton, a $2 million investment last week, which we announced. And outside of that, we're in the process of spinning out our lithium project. There will be a dividend of some point for this Vinland Lithium that we've done a deal with Piedmont Lithium. They're spending $12 million on the project. Benton owns 4 million shares, as do Sokoman Minerals, and we have 2 million cash in the private company right now. We should be trading in the next 60 to 90 days. Paperwork running through the exchange, and we'll make an announcement on the amount of dividend that we're going to make to our shareholders. But this will come out with only 10 million shares out, a $12 million work commitment on the project, and also 2 million hard cash in the bank. So really great structured company with a world-class partner. And I'll talk more about this project in the next 40 minutes in this session, and be able to give you a full update on what we have there. So with that, if there are any questions, we have a booth and you can come look at our beautiful copper core, and that's it for Benton.